Welcome to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have a very empowering show coming right up with special guest Whitney Vosburgh, and he's here today to share with us his new book, Work the Future Today, A Faster Path to Purpose, Passion, and Profit. Now, Whitney is the co-founder of Work the Future Today, which is a social venture that offers vision, leadership, and solutions for maximizing personal, organizational, and societal potential. Whitney is also a consulting chief marketing officer and change agent for Fortune 20 companies and game-changing Silicon Valley startups, guiding over $20+ billion worth of IPOs, sales, pivots, and launches. He graduated with an MA in Religious Leadership for Social Change from Graduate Theological Union and with a BFA from Parsons School of Design in New York City, and his expertise on the future of work has been featured in 4 books, including bestseller by Dan Pink. So let's welcome to the show, Whitney Vosburgh.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
What an honor it is to have you here and to talk about your book. I hear it's getting such great reviews. You have to be so proud.
I am grateful and excited.
Well, so why don't we start at the beginning? You know, what's inspired you to write this book?
Well, I took a midlife leave of absence from the corporate world and ended up going to divinity school, where I wrote a thesis on creating a meaningful life in middle age and beyond. And I then did a couple of interim CMO consulting jobs for Fortune 20 companies. I met my current co-author, and we combined ideas, points of view, and decided that it was the time to write a new operating system for the way our economy works.
Well, that's no small undertaking, you know, and you can see how you have it laid out in your book. You make it really simple for people to understand. Did it take a long time for the both of you to develop this book?
Well, it took two almost complete lifetimes to prepare for writing the book. The actual writing the book took about a year and a half.
Wow. Well, did you do a lot of research for the book, or is this, was it mostly based on your combined personal experiences that you brought this forward?
We, both have read a great deal, both in terms of the business press, the spiritual press, the sustainable press, as well as drawing on our personal and professional experiences, having worked for many small and large companies, organizations, communities, local governments.
Mm-hmm. So you guys have had a lot of experience in that area. Well, and your book has a lot of great things going on with it. One of the things I really appreciate is that you also have these areas where it kind of just visually shows people, just in either diagrams or examples so that they can visually see how this all comes into place. And you talk about the shift from the old story of profit first to the new story of purpose first. And I'd love for you to explain those differences and why that's important.
Yes. The old story of profit first has taken us far, but we're not going to go much further with it. So we need a new, better story. So the old story has given us electricity and banking and the internet and all sorts of wonderful things. It's just that the world is a small place and it's getting ever smaller. And so the old story of profit first gave us the triple bottom line of profit, people, planet. Which was a good development. But with the small world that we live in, which becomes ever more fragile, and interconnected, we need a new story of purpose first. In other words, starting with why instead of how much. And so we're working our way across the chasm of change to the new story of purpose first, which will and is giving birth to a new triple bottom line of planet, people, profit. And the reason in that order is because if there's no planet, there's no people, and if there's no people, there's no profit.
Yeah, it all makes sense, and you would think that most people understand that too, right?
People, yes, I think people viscerally, emotionally understand it. I don't think everyone is able to, as yet, is sort of verbalize it or intellectualize it, but they feel it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's interesting. This is just kind of, I think, has to do with your work as well. But we have this whole new generation. The millennials are really big in finding purpose in their work, and it's interesting. Do you think that maybe some of that is also the driving force in making this kind of paradigm shift?
Yes, I do. I have two daughters who are millennials. The eldest is a graphic designer, which traditionally has been responsible for a lot of landfill. So she said, Dad, I want to be a green graphic designer. In other words, she's interested in reducing landfill, rethinking, repurposing, so that things last longer, have more value so that people hold on to them, and so there's less landfill.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. And sustainability.
I think that's so beautiful. And, with that, is that why you think now the world and business need a new operating system more than ever?
Yes. You just pick up any newspaper, listen to any radio, news broadcast, TV, check out the news or podcast. There is so much bad news all the time, all over the place. And some of that is because of modern technology, communications, the internet, jet travel, and the like. But it's just because of things like the global banking system, the internet, the transportation system, the speed of travel of ideas, as well as germs, as well as technology, is so fast and getting ever faster, plus the rate of change, that it's just becoming that much more obvious that we are all one, and we're all, on this one planet, planet Earth. Good planets are hard to find. So, yes, we need to come together, work together on reducing what is harming our world, and working together to increasing anything that was going to make the world more hospitable, healthy, and wholesome.
Well, and I've got a few other questions on that, but before we get too far ahead, for our listeners that might be new to your work, I would love for you to also share with us, what is purpose, and so they get a kind of understanding, because I think that word gets thrown around a lot.
It does. A simple word for purpose is why. Why is why are you here? Why am I here? Why are we here? My unique, or should I say our unique take on purpose is that it is your unique gift to the world. So why am I here? I am here to find and share my unique gift with the world.
Well, I think that is something that people, from even kind of a soul level, that's something that they want to discover and share.
Yes, and equally important is the fact that every one of us, has something special, unique, and important and valuable to share.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good because, what if somebody is saying, well, gosh, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what's unique about me or what I have to share. If you get people that approach you like that, what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is that, your purpose acts as a North Star, so that no matter where you came from, where you are, where you're going, you can look up at your North Star and have a sense of direction as well as an actual direction to follow. No one can tell you what your purpose is. It's something that's deep inside yourself. Call it your spirit, your soul, what have you. But it's all there, yearning to bubble up into our consciousness. There are multiple ways to find and follow your path to purpose. Whether it's through meditation, journaling, prayer, spending time in nature, reading inspirational books, volunteering, any kind of activity that typically grounds you and enhances your inner focus is more likely to lead to a doorway to your path to your purpose, and then your passion, and then your prosperity. You can think of your head as being purpose-centered, your heart as being passion-centered, and your hands as being, the practice, the way to lead to well-being and wellness and prosperity.
So from a global level, when we talk about global purpose system, how does that even relate?
It relates in that we are all one. We are all, small specks of the universe, but that means that we're all part of the universe, which means we're all important and magnificent parts of the universe. Humans being social beings, beyond the need for water and food and shelter and medical care and clothing, we die very quickly from isolation, loneliness, which is the most horrible form of poverty.
Mm-hmm. Well, in your book, you share the three, you talk about the book being a pathway and that there are signposts
Yes.
with it being purpose, place, and practice. Why those three things?
Well, purpose is your why. It is your unique gift to the world. Place, we hear the word space and place. You can think of space as a house. You can think of a place as your home. So the place is it's about where, but much more importantly, it's about who. Our community, our tribe, our work team, our religious or spiritual practice group. It's these series of overlapping groups that give nurturance, bring to life our aspects of being what it is to be a human, which is to be relational beings. So it's so important to not only know your why, but with whom to best share it with and where. That's your place. And then the third part is finally putting it into practice. That is where the how, the what, the when, and the how much come into play. Sadly, most leaders and organizations and businesses and governments start with that, the how much, the when, the what. So, as I just mentioned, imagine it going from your head to your heart to your hands. So the purpose is your head, your heart is the home of your who, and then your hands, you're putting into effect your practice of how do I best share my gift with the world.
Thank you for taking the time to explain that, because we hear about this crisis of people who feel lonely or they're not, really feeling fulfilled or all these different things. And your book really helps people to look at life in a different way, where they can start being more involved and making changes and getting out in the community and really discovering that why for themselves.
Yes, a community is, to me, the most important part of life, because we have our work community, our geographical community, our religious community, our civic community. It is these places where we truly come to life and bring our gifts to life.
Mm-hmm.
So that it makes all the difference.
So I've got to talk with you about your book, because, man, is it an attention grabber. I mean, as soon as people see it, they're probably thinking of something else, because the book title, even though it is Work the Future Today, on the cover it's designed in a certain way, mostly looks like WTF. So why don't you share with us a little bit why the book is designed in that way?
Yes, interesting question. Thank you for asking. Mm-hmm. Both my co-author Charlie and myself have done a lot of work in the area called the future of work. The problem is that when you're talking about the future as an abstraction, it's not real. And plus, there are people who are professional trend predictors, they're futurists, strategic planners, all important, and sadly, most of their predictions turn out wrong. And the truth is, we co-create the future together right now. Now and now and now. So I said to Charlie, instead of the future of work, what about work the future? In other words, start now, here and now. And then given what is going on with all the headlines in the media, the global climate change, and the fact that we have so many headless leaders, we thought it was an appropriate comment on where our society, our political system, our environment is and going to presently.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I could agree more with you.
and besides, it's where's the fun?
Mm-hmm. Of course. There's all these great acronyms for this, so it works out perfect. Well, and what's nice is that it's called the Pocket Pal, so people can take it with them throughout their day. It's intended to be a resource that they can use.
That's right. Our first book is like an atlas of change. this much smaller book is like a handy-dandy in your pocket or purse at all times, or on your mobile device, iPhone or iPad, so that wherever you are, you can use it. And it's not only have pithy summaries of the chapters of the main book, plus illustrations to bring these points alive, but it has actionable resources that you can employ right there on the spot. We also have online resources so that to make the book much smaller and lighter, you can click on and take to a specific resource in response to a specific situation you might find yourself in, whether it be purpose, place, or practice.
Well, it's great because they'll have that resource with them and get inspiration. You have things in the book, even like this quote, which is, control your own destiny or someone else will. And isn't that the truth? And when we look at the future of our planet and how we are here co-creating our new future, we really want to be more in charge of that as opposed to having it happen to us.
Yes, with a lot of things that are coming out of Silicon Valley in terms of technology, the internet, ever more centralized control, the fact that we can be tracked 30 different ways just through our iPhone alone, means that we need to start taking back some of the power that we've been giving away to others.
Well, on that note, we're going to pause here for a quick break. We've been speaking with Whitney Vosburgh in regards to his new book, Work the Future Today. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne. We'll be right back after these messages.
Internationally recognized and award-winning author Judy Goodman works and teaches outside the box of limited thinking. Working with people from every walk of life, her goal is to empower you to be the best you can be, no matter what the challenge is. Born with the gift of seeing beyond our normal vision, she has an extraordinary gift of working with every challenge. Teaching beyond conventional wisdom, her work is described as life-changing. Visit judygoodman.com. That's judygoodman.com.
There comes a moment when you realize you're somewhere special, when you discover that each beautiful creature that you see has been rescued from a life of absolute horror and brought to this incredibly free place. Here's where their lives were forever changed and where yours will as well. Discover over 500 tigers, bears, and lions at the brand new visitor center at the Wild Animal Sanctuary just outside Denver. For more information, visit wildanimalsanctuary.org. Discover true freedom at the Wild Animal Sanctuary.
Have you ever had the sense that your thoughts might actually be doing something? Ancient secrets of manifesting have been masterfully revealed in the award-winning book Manifesting 1-2-3 by Ken Elliott. For the first time, the author's experiences and stories in this book describe exactly how your thoughts can create anything. You've been doing this all your life, but it's never been fully explained for you until now. Visit manifesting123.com for more information today. Manifesting123.com.
There are nearly 2 million Americans living with amputation. Many live right here in San Antonio. Becoming an amputee can be scary, frustrating, isolating, but there's no reason to feel alone. The San Antonio Amputee Foundation is here to help support you and guide you toward resources such as home and car modifications and even prosthetic limbs. For more information or to make a donation, visit saamputee.org. We'll help you live a full, active life, one step at a time. San Antonio Amputee Foundation, healing limbs, hearts, and souls.
Welcome back to Moments with Marianne. We're here today with special guest Whitney Vosburgh, and he's sharing with us his new book, Work the Future Today. Now, Whitney, right when we were cutting for break, we were talking in regards to giving away our power, and you said something that kind of stuck with me, and I'd love for you to kind of expand on that. I don't think people understand how important giving your power away, what that really means. It's all the difference between being the captain of your ship or the pawn in somebody else's game.
Yes, particularly for groups of people who have been historically disenfranchised and denied their voice, whether it be women, the elderly, it used to be the young, all kinds of minorities who are rapidly becoming the majority, must now find and speak their voice because, it's finding and channeling their inner power to make necessary changes to bring some more sanity, more balance to this world. And you can see it with the election of new congresswomen or Congress people from the First Nation. There's a lot of change going on, but not much of it gets media cover. But over there in the margins, it's happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so let's talk about, we've been kind of talking about the old story, versus the new story, and why businesses need, they've been running a certain way for decades, centuries, probably even longer, who knows. And so when we look at a new model of doing business, why is it so urgent that the old model be replaced?
Because the old model was based on exploitation. Of people, financial systems, and natural resources, which was a reflection of we were, for hundreds of thousands of years and longer, we were part of nature. As soon as we consider ourselves a part from nature, separate from, that's when we got into trouble. And the world became a commodity. And the world is a self-regulating, intelligent system, as is the universe. We need to take a step back and rejoin the world as part of the natural order. There's enough to go around for everyone's needs on this planet. It just needs to be distributed evenly. There will always be haves and have-nots, but there can, and I imagine will be, much more of an even distribution of wealth, of opportunity, an ability to make a positive difference, and other things like that.
Do you think making this transition will be a very difficult one, or is the time just right for this kind of thing to happen?
In China, they have a ideogram which represents opportunity and danger simultaneously. So we are at a crisis point now where we can choose one of two paradigms, creation or destruction. And it is up to us, individually and collectively. And it is a shift in consciousness more than anything else. If we change the way we feel about ourselves and the world, if we consider ourselves part of the natural world, then we will stop polluting and exploiting resources at a much faster rate than the world can keep up with.
Yeah. I mean, when we look at the oceans being kind of farmed, just fished out and different things happening throughout the world, it really puts things into perspective about how massive change needs to happen.
Yes, and the underlying driver behind all this is the ruling emotional paradigm of this world is fear. Once we shift over from fear to love, this is what the shift in consciousness, what I'm talking about, will mean an incredible series of changes that could happen almost overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a shift in consciousness. The question is, are we shifting fast enough?
That is a good question. And I think it's something that a lot of us can sit and meditate, pray on, whatever the case may be, just really reflect on, how we can make changes in that area. Because that, if you think about it, is it happening fast enough? That can be kind of a little scary.
Yes, it is. And since our leaders are failing us, we need to stop looking up to them. We need to step forward, find and follow our own lead based on our own purpose so that we can be our own leaders. And it doesn't matter whether you're a leader of 1 or 10 or 100 or 1,000,000. We need to step up and be our own leaders.
Well, and so we look at this. I mean, your book just came out. I mean, it's taken over a year to write, and the information can't be more timely than, something that we need at this present moment.
I have heard that a number of times. So it's always good to hear, because timing is, as you know, almost everything.
That is the truth. That is the truth. I mean, you couldn't time this better, But I'm so glad that we're having this discussion. And, and you break it down. There's so many great resources in this book. Of course, we're not going to be able to cover everything today, and we want people to go ahead and pick up their own copy. Mm-hmm. But you also talk about the 6 steps to a purposeful life. And I'd love for you to give us a little bit of a rundown on those.
Well, I'm going
we've been talking about a few of them,
Yeah. I instead of sticking to the text in the book, I'm going to create my own version right now. So 6 steps is to slow down, stop being so busy, and being more present, aware. Look inside more, look outside less, in terms of look inside your own mind, your own heart, your own soul. So slow down, listen, look, be attentive, and your soul will start speaking to you, one way or another. Because it's a yearning for your attention, so that you can, so that you start clarifying what are my intentions, because intention drives attention. So whatever we think is important will help us focus on what we do, look at, get involved in externally. And from that intention, through journaling, going on nature walks, meditating, getting involved in therapy, creative projects, gardening, whatever it is, service to others is a great way to develop that sort of deeper consciousness and awareness, so that you start developing clues as to, following the breadcrumbs to what eventually will clarify as my unique gift to the world is this. And so my intentions are to share it with these people, and the best way to do it is that. So is to build a picture, do a collage, tear up a bunch of magazines, and build a life map. Buy or listen to all kinds of great resources out there for finding out what your why is and your how. Not so many people talk about who, but that's also important.
Why is that so important?
The who? Well, because we are human beings. We're relational beings. We can die of loneliness, of a broken heart, just as easily as we can from physical starvation.
Yeah. That is the truth. That is the truth. Well, your book also touches, we've talked about it a little bit before, about community. And in your book, it sounds like, you very clearly outlined that you have something very big in mind. And when you talk about community in several different ways, what do you mean by that?
Community is where the heart lives. So where you find the people that matter, the people who help you share your gift with the world, to bring meaning, to make your life better by making other people's lives better, by being of service, of being mutually supportive, sharing the gift of life. Because the greatest gift is giving, and giving is the gift that keeps on giving. So it is great to receive. That can be a gift to others, but there's nothing like giving.
That is true, and it really comes back to the triangle, kind of in a way that you were talking about earlier, with the mind, heart, and hands, and using that piece also to be in service and be volunteering and being involved in the community.
Yes, and sometimes, there are certain people who say that you have to heal yourself before you can heal others. That's not true. The best healers are what's known as wounded healers, so that your greatest weakness or negative experience can be your greatest gift to other people, because you know what it's like to have experienced that. And your greatest connections are going to be with other people who have experienced that or something close to it.
So for our listeners that are looking for ways to be more involved in community, develop a community, what are your thoughts around that?
There are so many different ways. For example, my wife is interested in yoga. We live in a very small, relatively poor community, and so she wanted to give back. So she started once a week on Saturdays. She has a free community yoga clinic in her home. So she's giving back. She's giving what she loves to share and is good at. It's free. It's of service, and it's good for people. And it also serves as sort of a community anchor. It brings people together, and we have tea and cookies afterwards. It's simple, and it's lovely. So get involved. Just figure out what you like to share, what would you like to give. You will always find somebody willing to receive it graciously.
Mm-hmm. Well, what a beautiful way to do that,
Yeah, you're only limited to your imagination in terms of getting involved in your community. It could be your work community, your school community, your religious or spiritual community, your home neighborhood. There's so many different overlapping communities that we're all members of.
Well, that is a great just a way to start people to thinking about how they can start getting involved in different things they can do. And it might be sitting down and making a list and figuring out what those things are.
Yeah, one of the most useful things I ever did was writing down every kind of work experience I had ever had. I was amazed at it. And then I did a list of all the places I visited, and then all the kinds of associations and organizations and communities I was a member of. It provided me with information, but much more importantly, it provided me with insights, trends and patterns in terms of what makes me, me, and what has made me, me. Because we are all walking, talking totals or sums of all our decisions over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So by developing these kind of lists, you go, oh, wow, I never noticed that kind of pattern. It can help inform you to be developing better insights and developing better intentions, focusing on your key interests. Who do I share those interests with? At the end of the day, it all boils down to this. How can we all become better together?
That is the truth. That is, because we are kind of just, in many ways, what we do is not just for ourselves, but, we talk about community. It uplifts our community and allows people to really be connected in a deeper personal way.
It makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm. Well, in your book, you also talk about place. We're not going to cover all of that, but I would like you to just briefly share with us why place is so important.
As I mentioned before, you think of space, office space,
mm-hmm.
home space, shopping space, as the equivalent of a house. Whereas place is, yes, it's geographical, but it has a very strong emotional, people, communal part of it. So that's why it's called place.
Mm-hmm.
And a place is the home of our why. It's the home of our unique gift to the world. So it's the who, most importantly, and then the where of with whom and where do I share my unique gift.
Yeah, and that really brings up a lot of thought, too, because when we examine our place, and you talk about this in your book about if our city or the place we're in will be, maybe non-existent in the 21st century. I mean, these are things to think of. I can remember as a child, doing road trips with my family through the desert in California and seeing ghost towns that had once been there for silver or gold mining. So you look at all these things and you can see the parallels.
Yes, very much so. Particularly now, where everything happens at a greater speed, velocity, rate, complexity, in terms of consolidation of money, power, influence, and many other things along those lines. So that you're only as good as your weakest link. So if you have a powerful, magnetic brand as a company, a neighborhood, a city, a county, a state, a region, a country, you are going to be better able to compete on the global, regional, and local levels with other brands. A brand is basically it's a total sum of people's experiences and emotions associated with a particular something that is known as, X, and it looks like Y. So whether it's a community, a city, a state, a country, a continent, they all have, what's called place brands. And another way of looking at a brand is it has related emotions attached to it due to people's experiences with it, and it has an associated promise of value. For having invested your time, money, energy, attention, name, or what have you in this brand, we promise some sort of value in return. So that some civic or community or other local government brands are stronger than others. Some are so weak they don't even have them. And the weaker your brand is, the less you're going to be able to compete. And greater, ever more relentless competition, they're going to be ghost towns. And the Midwest is struggling with that here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And cities are going to become big cities are going to be working with other big cities in terms of you have Tijuana, San Diego, Los Angeles in Southern California. You have Las Vegas, Phoenix, Tucson, right down the Mexican border. There's another, Boston, New York, Washington. So you have these mega city regions that already are powerful and they're only going to get more powerful.
Well, you bring such a unique perspective with your background to all of this. And do you feel it's because of your unique background that you're able to have a perspective that most people don't see?
I was very lucky and unlucky to have had a unusual childhood. My dad worked for Pan American Airways, so we moved every couple of years right around the world, and having English educated as well as American educated, and having lived in America, Asia, and Europe, I developed a cross-cultural eye in terms of seeing commonalities and differences on multiple levels very quickly. But I will tell you one thing. People are much more alike than not. We all to love and be loved, to be recognized and to recognize, to be valued and to value one another.
Well, those are some of the most important things. And for our listeners and readers that are picking up your book and diving into it, and they're like, hey, I totally understand this and I want to get more involved, how can they connect with you and what's the next step for them?
Well, you can certainly warmly welcome to visit us at www.workthefuture.today. That's certainly a good way to learn about us and our books and our thinking, as well as other resources. You're welcome to look up Charlie Grantham and myself on LinkedIn. There's plenty of professional information there. And just keep on the outlook for what we do and we'll be doing in the future, and for other people who write and speak and bring purpose to life. We're not the only people who are doing this and very important work.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if someone would like to work with you, how do they get in touch with you for that? Is that done through the website as well?
Yes. Our web site has our email address, and the book does as well.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, Whitney, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
And thank you so much for being such a graceful host and asking such penetrating questions. It's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you, Whitney. It's been such a pleasure to talk with you, and congratulations on your new book, Work the Future Today. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. You're listening to Moments with Marianne. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary. A recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.